as we wrap this up, as we wrap the session up, and let me just go through some of the points. And Dr. Emma was actually saying that we wrap up the sessions with a synthesis, and we would like to thank our resource persons primarily for ensuring that we have a discussion that is more informative and substantive. But takeaway from these discussions and exchanges is, of course, from this morning sessions and yesterday's sessions, we've been talking about concepts, theories, that have been reflections from our from the people in the academe. And this afternoon session talked about how some of our practitioners, took those important lessons, from the theorizing into practice. And there were those who pushed for, recognizing capacities to analyze issues, primarily on climate change that confront women. There has been a lot of discussion on the value of her stories, stories from the ground and data from the ground, making sure that we are able to institutionalize women's voices. And in the context of the region, we need to amplify those regional voices if we are to influence the narrative on climate action globally. There's also a discussion on the relationship between women and productive assets that was put forward by Dr. Martua, and that we need to be able to protect women's productive assets in the process. But we also need to recognize that solution seeking is within the capacity of women, and they are not victims, but part of the solution. Along this line, we've had different resource persons, from Dr. Rabani, Dr. Wanan, Arma, Dr. Tulin, and Shirley, focusing in on building anticipatory and adaptive capacities. And that, we earlier, Dr. La also pointed out, we should never underestimate local capacities, to understand the scientific processes, phenomena, and impacts, which came out from the multiple discussions, the sharing that we've had from the ground. And that there is a value in participatory action learning, where we transform theory into practice. But we also should be cognizant of the challenges that are presented by the new normal, and that we need to be able to adapt to the technology demands, of the new normal. If the women are to claim those spaces, where they can actually tell their stories. So, for example, as Dr. Wanan said, many farming communities or fishing communities who do not have access to online platforms. So how do we help them get their voices into the regional and global platforms in the new normal? And of course, we've also raised the importance of lessons must be transformed into policy and give attention to scale and policy.
In the chat box about the Farmer Business School. Just to promote, we will be launching e-learning course on Farmer Business School towards the end of this year. This is an initiative by IPRI and the International Potato Center. So just please watch out if you're really interested on this e-learning course. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Arma. And Dr. Emma?
Yeah, thank you. Before we call on Professor Surichai, who is now in Paris, to close the conference, what I'd like to say is that this interesting discussion, we can do it after we officially, what I'm saying is we can have this dynamic conversation is very important, especially in how this will perhaps affect the way we do our work in the universities and in our community engagements. I would like to request, especially those with PowerPoint, and also Jack, that was an excellent synthesis. What we would like to do for everyone is really that to put together the video recording, and we'll put it in our website. But we would also like to PDF your PowerPoints, because we look at our website really as a knowledge and resource base that may support your teaching, your research, and your community engagements. We would like to connect, my staff and the organizing team work so hard in putting this all together. And I think it's just fitting that we put this as a resource base in our with your permission, in our FB website, and also in our YouTube channel, because that's very important if we have to, create a synergy, and also to, cross-fertilize our innovations. And really, as what Dr. Lau says, we have to think in terms of, scale. If we have to think of scale, we have to look into the policy making like that. So thank you very much, Jack. I'm really thankful to all the presenters, excellent, and to the, as well as the reactors, and especially to President Tolin. I feel, I know all of us are very busy, and I feel bad sometimes that, I will request you this, but I'm really grateful to all of you, Martuam, Melissa, Dr. Wanon, Dr. Arma, and all the others. Did I miss anyone? Oh, Shirley. Shirley, we've been, and of course, Jack, and everyone, It's really an excellent, this is the kind of, shall we say, exchange that we should have. We should have conversations so we can support each other, we can share our knowledge, and we can move towards a better, I always say, move towards a better future. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, before we move on, Dr. Zakia has been raising her hand. Yeah, yes, Dr. Zakia.
Dr. Zakia is here. Okay.
Yes, yes, Dr. Zakia. You are muted, Dr. Zakia.
Trying to unmute.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for this wonderful session. I was here for partly. I couldn't be here whole time. I just wanted to say that this is the 16th Asia Pacific Sociological Association Conference 2021. As one of the organizing committee, I would like to say thank you to Professor Emma Purio for her leadership, for her excellent work, and her team, who made whole thing possible. And it is enormous job. We can acknowledge that. And thank you so much, Tess. And thank you so much, everyone, those who are involved, particularly those three, a few people are really regularly helping us. And all the presenters, excellent presentation. And this is a really important topic, climate change inequalities, that we covered in this session. And we would like to see you in future sessions when we are going to see each other again in 2023. And just wanted to say thank you so much. And we really appreciate your contribution, your collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you, Zakia.
Okay, thank you. Please join me in giving a virtual round of applause to our session speakers, as well as our panel of reactors for this session. And I now turn you over to Patty for the next part of our session. Patty?
But stay over after the closing
Yes,
remarks.
okay,
We can
yes,
chat,
Patty?
Okay, so many thanks to Professor Tabada and Professor Bercilia for moderating the fourth and last session of the APSA Conference 2021. Before we formally end the first day of the conference, may I invite APSA Advisor, Dr. Surichai Wongyao. Dr. Surichai Wongyao is also the Director of the Center for Peace and Conflict Studies of Chulalongkorn University, Thailand.
Hello, Consor Chai. How are you? Where are you now? Have you eaten your breakfast in Paris?
Yes. Do you see me now? Can you
Yeah,
hear
but
me?
it's inverted.
It's inverted. Oh.
You straighten up yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, Just
Yes.
go ahead.
Oh,
This will be a new experience, Consor Chai.
yes.
So just go ahead and speak.
Thank you very much for this very important time that I am allowed to join with all of you. It is a real honor for someone who also lives in Southeast Asia, who also live in this Asia Pacific, where the context of APSA should really be grounded together, like the discussions the presentations interactions we have had together. I want to make my, okay, the way I appear may now look, okay.
It's okay to look
Oh,
at you
yes.
upside down.
Yeah. Okay, now it's no more, the world is upside down in some way. But the way we talk in the context of COVID-19 that allow us to feel and to really appreciate how we make sense together. The context of difficulties, but we still see the meaningfulness of interactions beyond the usual context where we live. So I am grateful for this opportunity. I just say a few things in maybe a few minutes to be a kind of expression of our part to express our appreciation for all the efforts and all the intellectual contributions from the ground and from countries and also across the regions, both Asia Pacific, but also Southeast Asia and East Asia and also South Asia. So in a way, this has come up as a maturing context of sociology interactions in the context of a very difficult period of COVID and going beyond. So my part here just want to, beyond this appreciation, I would like to say that being in now in a conference, a general conference in Paris for UNESCO, it is also just to strengthen that there is no more valuable issues than just collaborate and also work together to go beyond and to cope with this COVID and make our future more not just growth oriented, but also balancing ourselves in a more restorative, in a more resilient approaches, as the spirit of this conference have expressed. But my second point would relate to many friends talk about political space, but I think when you talk more about that, it becomes more of how we can have space, how can we generate space. I think how can we generate space for the future of interactions and how the voices from the ground could be more amplified and more interactive, more empowered. I had a feeling that we do need to also relate ourselves in the context of this kind of professional organizations, academic organizations like APSA, in a more engaging, policy engaging and policy making platform in a broader sense than just academic, purely academic one. So I really feel the discussion through the field routes, to the intermediate schools, through the gender perspective, but also beyond this, we had already 4 sessions. And all this really make us feel maybe it is really right to imagine that APSA can be a place to engage more with more generating policy space in this region and with a broader context of policy context, where now we have this, may I just say the last word about the future. When I mentioned in my sentence about this policy engagement, I also imply that, as some of you may know, that this coming year, there will be a few very major policy which platform, but often not time, not very much linked to the creativity and voices from the ground as you were talking and bringing them to a chair. So in that sense, I think like the upcoming period, I think within a few months' time, things will be clearer. But Indonesia is going to organize this G20, be the chair of the G20. As you know, ASEAN is having a new chair in Cambodia, but also having a serious challenge with Myanmar. So we also demand ourselves to engage more with the context of a very challenging issue in our neighboring countries across, so that our solidarity can be a part. May I just also invite you for the next possibility, like I was interested to see Professor Emma mentioning how the APSA would be a part to strengthen our new generation of professional and also policy engagement people in the field of next year and beyond. So I would like to see that publication, that kind of networking, working more. And I think we will be fully working to support it, to implement it. For Thailand, may I just invite you also to share with you that I hope APSA also will work with us how in March, early March this coming year, we will be organizing a conference on future literacy in a post-COVID Asia with a subtitle on solidarity and transformative learning. So what you have mentioned about many concrete and also interesting examples in Indonesia, the next generation of leaders, issues in the village, beyond, and all this, I think, including what happened in Bangladesh, I really feel that with all this, we can see how solidarity in the new context of challenging times like this can create a more challenge for our institutional transformation as well as our individual level. Hopefully, we all take good care of your health. I wish all the best for all of you. Thank you so much. The chair of the organizing committee, Professor Emma, and thank you so much for the whole team, and also the president of the State University of Visayas for your very strong support to our work. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very, very much, Dr. Surichai. And with that, we close the 60th Asia Pacific Sociological Association Conference, and we will see you again next year for the next APSA conference.